Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everybody, welcome back to my video. I am Hardiana. I'm student of English Education Department 2018, State Islamic University of Alauddin Makassar. I made this video to fulfill the mid test for discourse analysis. Here I will explain about the scope of discourse analysis. There are three scope of discourse analysis. The first, interactional spoken discourse. The second, transactional spoken discourse. And the last is performance spoken discourse. And I will clarify one by one to you with the outline, the definition, example, the reasons for analyzing the three discourse, how to analyze the discourse, what things are found from the analysis, what are the implications of the analysis result to teaching and learning, conversation, debates, and speech delivery in English language teaching. And the last one is conclusion. For the first is interactional spoken discourse. This spoken discourse, this type of speaking describes interaction which serves as social functions like conversation. For example, there are two conversation. The first is classroom conversation and casual conversation. Classroom conversation is a special variety of language used by teachers and students in their interaction. Classroom interaction or classroom conversation then involves the verbal exchange between learners and teachers. However, teachers should know that the learners need to do most of the talk to activate their speaking, since this skill requires practice and experience to be developed. The second is casual conversation. Casual conversation may be made up of fewer complete sentences and includes lots of short phrases and simple words back and forth between the speakers, like joking, small talk, gossip, and so on. And the reasons for analyzing this discourse, the first shows and recognize its distinctive features in terms of structures, functions, and so on, which makes it different from casual conversation. The second is encourage students to know and use characteristics like structure, functions, and so on. When they are in a classroom environment and students wants to be involved in conversation, and the last, to see what is happening in the classroom and to evaluate the final product of teaching and product of teachers and the students, and to analyze the conversation using the IRF pattern. I stands for invitation, like the teachers gives the students questions. R stands for response, like students answer the teacher's questions. And F stands for feedback. The teachers follow up or comment the students' answer. Well, to make you more understand about the patterns, that's better we are going to the example. For example, there is teachers and the students. Well, the teachers, students, here I have things in my hand. So what is this? And the students, that is highlighter, ma'am. And the teacher say, yes, this is highlighters. we can see that the example conversation between the teachers and the students, we find out three different functions in the conversation. Well, the first is the teachers ask the students or brings the questions to the students, that is functions of imitation. The teachers give questions to the students, and then the students respond. That functions of response are by saying that is highlighters, and last the teachers give the feedback or comment with the students, that is yes, this is highlighters. And so from this analysis of example, we found that the internal structure of conversation, and then the implication of the analysis result to teaching and learning conversation in English language teaching. The first is use the discourse sequence as a pattern when the teachers needs to compile conversation, a conversational uh, based teaching materials in which the materials are sequenced by using the exchange structure. And the second, I use the utterance from the data as natural language expressions, which uh, can be used to perform particular functions in the conversation materials. And the last is use the internal structure to determine turns in the conversation. This information will be very, very helpful when teachers expect natural interaction activities in English language teaching class, because this is the result of an analysis of the use of English in its social context. And so next move to the next topics. The next topic is transactional spoken discourse. According to research, speaking as transaction refers to situation where the focus is on what is said or done. The message meaning which makes one understood clearly and accurately is is the central focus. So, speaking as transaction can be taught by providing search for practicing how, how to use uh, how to use talk for sharing and obtaining information. For example, classroom group discussions, problem solving activities, debates, job interviews, and so on. So the example is very, very clear to tell us about from the definition of transactional speaking. Well, I'm going to analyze the example. In this example, we take debates. This is election debate between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton at the time. Well, first we analyze moderator, where is Lester Holt. So here the first is initiation. Initiation of moderator consists of opening, introducing the participants, the structuring the debate organizations, welcoming candidates, introducing topic, and inviting arguments. Well, next move the response. Here in the response, there is Hillary Clinton response the moderator. Here consists of opening, um, overviewing the topic, stating solutions, and giving recommendations. The last is response from the Donald Trump. So to make sure you understand that is analyzing, here here is the generic structure and then the functions. You can see on the screen that your is initiations, response, follow up, initiations, and response. Well, A is moderator, B Hillary Clinton, and C is Donald Trump. So that is the analyzing of this example election debates. The transaction of spoken discourse brings about some advantage for language, especially in language teachers who are interested in discourse, who are interested in teaching debates or discussion to improve their student structures, transactional speaking. Soon this is important and very helpful using new informations. And okay, next, how about the implication of the result of analyzing transactional discourse spoken? Well, using the information is very helpful to present authentic transactional spoken discourse activities in English language teaching classroom, since the information is the result of analyzing English language use in its social context. Well, we move to the last topic. That is performance spoken discourse. Performance speaking, based on Richard say that performance speaking is a type of spoken discourse that is aimed at transmitting information in front of public area or in front of an audience, commonly delivered in the form of monologue rather than dialogue. So this refers to public speaking, that is speaking that transmits information before an audience. For example, classroom presentations, public announcement, and speech. For example, performance speaking can be illustrated as a process of communicating information to an audience. The speakers often by using informal language, for example, making speech and oral presentation. The two examples are few as performance speaking discourse, since people normally make speech and oral presentation as kind of language in use for communicating. And for the reason for analyzing this discourse, the first speaking in front of a group of people require high self-confidence in order to be able to handle their anxiety or stage fright when making a speech or a presentation. Uh, to the audience. While not all people have high confidence, they have the practice speaking in public over and over to grow the high confidence. The second public speakers are required to make effective speech when speaking in public deals with the discussion of how to make an effective public speaker. And to how to analyze the discourse, the first is we have to give underline about generic structure of speech or presentation. So from the generic structure of speech, we can get ways to analyze this discourse. The first is addressing. Address audience to start the next. The second is greetings and gratitude. The third is attention. The third is attention grabber. Next, introduction, body, conclusion, and the last is ending. Make them Remember what you have staged, or you give them the order you give them gratitude. So that's analysis how to analyze performance spoken discourse, and we can example like from the speech text. And then the result or things are we found from that analysis is we can say that there is a speech outline from the how analyze the performance spoken discourse. So from the 7 points, we can get to the outline of speech. The implication from this analysis, the first is we can use a speech outline to help students in order to be able to recognize ideas logically and clearly in making a speech. The second, students can use appropriate expressions naturally as well as native speakers. Okay, I have explained to you about these three, the scope of spoken discourse. The next, I would like to explain to you about the conclusion. For the conclusion, speaking, there are three, the scope of speaking discourse. The first is interactional spoken discourse, uh, transactional spoken discourse, and performance spoken discourse. Speaking as interaction or interactional spoken discourse is refers to what we normally mean by conversation and describes interaction that serves a primarily social function. There are two conversation, that is classroom conversation and casual conversation. And speaking as transaction or transactional spoken discourse refers to situations where the focus is on what is said or done, the message, and making oneself understood clearly and accurately is the central focus, rather than the uh, rather than the participants and how they interact socially with each other. For example, classroom group discussion and problem solving activities. And the last is speaking as performance or performance spoken discourse. Um this refers to public speaking, that is speaking that transmit informations uh, before an audience, such as classroom presentation, public announcement, and speech. For example, conducting a class debate, giving a speech of welcome, making a sales presentation, and so on. Well, about the pattern of discourse pattern, the first is I, that is initiation. R, R is response, and F is feedback or follow up. For the next, the closing statement for this video for the teachers and learners is in English teaching not only give more attention to language form, but also language functions for making naturally, effectively, and socially, especially in transactional speaking, interactional speaking, and performance speaking. And and the last is I don't forget to say I would like to say thank you so much for my lectures, Mr. Kaharudin, to guide us that uh, I can finish my mid test of discourse analysis. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.